Hey there, welcome back into Occupy Democrats. And one of the things Trump is very consistent about is never defending those he demands loyalty from. Because when the tough gets going, Trump just throws you under the bus. And the person who's about to find that out in this breaking story is good old drunken sailor Fox and Friends, Pete Hegseth over at the Pentagon. Because the first thing Trump had to defend was Pete and the signal scandal.
President Trump says he still has confidence in Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, despite yet another scandal involving his use of Signal. That's that private messaging platform. This time, it's been revealed that he shared sensitive details of an upcoming military strike with his wife, his brother, and his lawyer.
And then he had to defend second strikes on fishing boats when survivors are clinging.
Overnight, Secretary Hegseth defending the September 2nd strikes on a suspected drug boat that killed survivors amid growing accusations of potential war crimes.
I fully support that strike. I would have made the same call myself.
And of course, Trump just loves it when somebody else goes out and talks really tough as if we're fighting Russia or China.
Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past, they had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more.
And yet, for now, Trump continues to stand by him and congratulate him.
And we're pleased to be joined by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. I said, if you want, Pete, you can avoid it. General Raisin Cane also. And they said, we don't avoid this one. This is one you wouldn't avoid for anything, right?
And Trump will always happily serve up some red MAGA meat using meatheads like Pentagon Pete.
That this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring. Words matter. Restoring the warrior ethos. Restoring victory and clarity as an end state.
And yet in this breaking story, Trump gives Pete just enough rope to harm himself, doesn't he?
At your direction, Mr. President, the War Department is going to fight decisively, not endless conflicts.
Because the truth behind the scenes in D.C. on Capitol Hill is what's really going on with Pete Hegseth. Check this breaking story out.
Pentagon Pete hit with humiliating harm rating by Republican aides. Most senior Hill staffers, including a majority of Republicans, say the defense secretary is damaging Trump's foreign policy goals. More than half of Republican Capitol Hill aides believe Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is harming President Donald Trump's foreign policy goals, according to a damning new survey. The poll, conducted by Punchbowl News in partnership with public affairs firm LSG, asked senior Hill aides whether Hegseth, 45, had helped or harmed Trump's national security priorities. Among Republican respondents, 52% said he had done damage, against just 18% who said he had helped. The survey was completed between February 10th and March 2nd, mostly before the launch of Operation Epic Fury, the joint U.S.-Israeli military campaign against Iran that got underway on February 28th. We have only just begun to fight and fight decisively, Hegseth declared last week, positioning himself as a leading public advocate for the Iran offensive. The wider numbers are even more punishing. Across party lines, 72% of senior Hill aides told Punchbowl that Hegseth had been a drag on Trump's agenda, with just 9% willing to credit him with helping. Even on the right, where Republicans on Capitol Hill have largely rallied behind him in public, the private verdict is clear. That skepticism reflects a tenure marked by one controversy after another. The Signal group chat scandal last March, in which top administration officials were found to have shared sensitive details of pending military strikes in Yemen in an unsecured message thread, became one of the most scrutinized episodes of Hegseth's time in office. A separate furor has erupted over U.S. forces carrying out deadly strikes on boats suspected of drug trafficking in the Caribbean, sparking questions about legality and rules of engagement that have since drawn multiple congressional inquiries. The damage to Hegseth's standing extends beyond raw approval figures. When staffers were asked which Republicans had done the most to grow their prominence within Trump's political base, only 14% included Hegseth in their top three, well behind Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance. Hegseth is now staking his reputation partly on the outcome in Iran. Operation Epic Fury has seen U.S. and Israeli forces sink more than 30 Iranian naval vessels and drive down ballistic missile attacks by 90%, according to U.S. Central Command. Iran's foreign minister has since told NBC News that Tehran has not requested a ceasefire and is not open to negotiations. A Senate resolution to curtail Trump's war-making authority failed to pass. The Daily Beast has contacted the Pentagon and the White House for comment.
They all know. They all know this can't continue. They all know they can't have people like Mark Wayne Mullen trying to play tough guy all the time, or Pete Hegseth screaming and hollering about how precise and sharp and militaristic and munitions and all of this literal 12-year-old boys playing cowboys and Indians as if nothing else matters. Hey, I have no issue with military action as long as it actually has a purposeful plan. And to this point, I haven't seen one thing from Pete Hegseth that tells me he's an individual who should be in charge of our Department of Defense or remotely involved with the Pentagon or anything else. He ought to be doing some weekend boot camp for dads who want to get in better shape. That's about where he belongs. And yet, Trump will stand by him until the second Trump throws him under the bus. It's coming. Like and share the video and stay frosty.